Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of wine and an old dirt road. Are you ready to go? That's awesome. Thanks for joining us today on Live Music Nation podcast. I'm your host, Jake Gill. We are with Melissa Swenson. Is that right?
Swenson.
Yeah. Swenson with the E. We were just talking about, I got that movie in the back of my head now, and I shouldn't have done that. With the Brown Grand Theater, Concordia, Kansas. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good. Give us a little background first on you, and then we'll go from there.
So I have a background in music. I have 2 degrees in flute performance, so classically trained, have a bachelor's and master's in flute performance and pedagogy. I have a second master's degree in arts administration from Boston University. So nonprofit management, fundraising, all the behind the scenes stuff that makes a nonprofit arts organization run. So I've been here at the Brown Grand as a director since April of 2021. Prior to that, I was serving on the board for 3 years when I moved to Concordia in 2018. So I've been involved in the theater since I've moved here to Concordia, and it's just been a lot of fun.
Where'd you come from before that?
So I was living in Boston for 7 years. And so after I finished my second master's, I stayed in Boston and was working at the Laundry School of Music of Bard College. I was working at the Commonwealth Shakespeare Company, had some internships in the city when I was working on my master's. So after I finished my master's, I had a full-time job with the Commonwealth Shakespeare Company. And they do free Shakespeare on the Boston Common every summer.
Oh, wow.
So that was an incredible experience.
Sure.
Great team there. And then I started working at the Laundry School of Music of Bard College in their development office, doing fundraising and grant writing and event planning and coordinating. And then moved back to Kansas where my roots are. I grew up in Kansas when I was a kid. And so moved back in 2018 and got married and have a family now. So
congratulations. How old are your kids?
I have a daughter who's 9.5 months and one on the way. So
very cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us about your theater. What makes it special?
Yeah, so the Brown Grand Theater is amazing. Construction started on the building 1906 and grand opening was September 17th, 1907. So this coming September, we're actually celebrating our 115th year, which is amazing. We were built originally as an opera house, so we had a variety of different things that happened here when the facility first opened, ranging from boxing matches to music to traveling theater troops to church services.
Wow.
Anything and everything in between, political rallies, everything happened on this stage. And then it was a movie theater for 50 years. And they built a marquee on the front, so it looked like a really classic old school movie theater. And then in the 1970s, the community came together and said, hey, we want to restore our theater and return it to a live performing arts space. So they had a grand reopening September 17th, 1980, and we've returned to an opera house. And still to this day, we are treated very much like an opera house. We have that same wide range of activities and events that happen here. Just this spring, we've had gospel quartet, we've had church services, we've had surprise engagements and proposals happening here. We've had meetings and music and theater and just a wide variety of things coming up. We have a quilt show in September. So it's not just strictly a performing arts space, which is one of our huge things that we offer to our community. So they also use it for things like family reunions, class reunions, things like that. So we're available to rent, and our community takes advantage of that as well. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you face as a small town theater?
Yeah, so right now, coming out of COVID hit us hard. We were closed for many, many months, like a lot of other places, and we lost over 90% of our earned income. So that we're still recovering from that, even though we've been open since April last year.
Sure.
So we're still slowly trying to get our season back up to what it was, trying to really expand our offerings and get bigger productions, bigger shows into the theater. But that's just been really hard to do since COVID hit us so hard.
Yeah.
So that's really been our biggest challenge recently.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's talk fundraising for a little bit, because it really is the key when it comes to a nonprofit organization like that.
Right.
What are some of your strengths in fundraising? What have been successful programs that you have that maybe other venues could implement?
Sure. I mean, you have all the traditional channels of fundraising. We do 2 annual appeal letters, one in the spring and one right at the end of the year. Those have been very successful for the theater. They hadn't been done in several years. And so now that we're doing them again and really educating our audience and the people who love us about what we're doing, that's been really helpful to tell our story, especially with our big anniversary coming up. Of course, we have grant writing. And so finding those channels for grant funding is not only challenging, but it's also competitive. So you just never know. And you can't bank on grant writing, of course.
Yeah.
But they're still out there. The grants are still there. There is still money available. So it's just a matter of finding a good fit for your organization. And then our community is actually really supportive. So our spring appeal tends to be focused around our upcoming season. And so every year we set a goal based on what we want to do that season, and we try to get the word out. And so we have business sponsors, we have individual sponsors, local grants that we have just within our community who sponsor us. So those are a lot of our main channels of fundraising. And then, you know, we tie into events, not only ticket sales, but we have concession sales. And then we're talking about doing some silent auctions for our season opener this September. We want to do like a pre-show gala soiree kind of event that has a special ticket with some appetizers and drinks and things before the show. So we're trying just to get creative and bring in some new income revenue channels as well. So
yeah, very good, very good. What does the future look like for the Brown Grand?
Yeah, so like I said, we're celebrating 115 years, and we're really trying to make our facility stable and ready for the next 115 years. Right now, you might hear some construction going on outside. We're actually right now having our tuck pointing and waterproofing and exterior window repairs being done. And that's just on the limestone and brick to make sure that the exterior of our building is going to be in really good shape for the several years down the road. So we're just trying to get in that good position to not only be successful now as a theater, but to leave this rich, beautiful tradition behind for generations to come.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Tell me about your kids programs. What type of youth? We talked earlier with a gentleman, and he said, you know, really, he was coming from an occupation of ministry and then took over a theater. And he said, you know, you can always tell the long-term health of a church by the number of children running up and down the hallways. And the theater can be say the same thing, and that's what we're finding. How have you been able to include the youth and the children of your community?
Yeah, so every summer we have 2 main programs. In June, we do the Missoula Children's Theater, and they send a couple teachers down every year. And this year we had 42 kids participate and had over 215 people in the audience for their show. And they come in and they learn a musical in a week. And so we have 42 kids. They range from entering 1st grade through 8th grade, which is quite a span of age. But before I started, it cut off at 6th grade. And that's important to note, because then in July, we have what's called the Lovewell Institute for the Creative Arts. And they're based out of Florida. They also send teachers, but that program is for our high school kids. And they come in and they actually write their own musical in a week. So they storyboard the ideas, they write the script, they write the songs, they write the lyrics, they do everything. Choreography, the dancing, the blocking, everything. And so for a long time, we were missing those kids after 6th grade into high school. And so what we've done now is we've bridged that gap so that every summer, a kid in our community can come and do some kind of a theater program here at the Brown Grand, whether it's Missoula Children's Theater or Lovewell Institute for the Creative Arts. So all the way through high school, from 1st grade through high school, they can come here and do something in the summer related to theater. And I think that gets their parents, that gets their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles, everybody here to see what we're doing. And that's just really exciting to get that energy, because when they realize, the audience realizes they've learned and memorized a musical in a week, and they're performing it in front of an audience of over 200 people.
Do those programs cost? Are those they cost you?
So we have Missoula Children's Theater has been underwritten by the Cloud County Community Foundation.
Okay.
For a number of years, and that's free cost to the kids. We do charge a small nominal fee for tickets.
Sure.
That helps us. And then Lovewell is sponsored by the Dane G. Hansen Foundation. And there's a $50 fee if a kid wants to participate in that, but they have scholarships. And so if you fill out the scholarship application and express your need, then they really work with you to try to make sure that that scholarship.
So you use community funding to bring these organizations in? Yeah,
foundations. Very cool. So it's a great underwriting.
That's awesome. Sure. Yeah. Fantastic. Let's have fun.
Throughout the year, we also try to have kid-friendly activities. Sure. So this coming season, we're going to be doing a winter movie series that's all family-friendly movies. This past year, we had the Nutcracker from Ballet Midwest out of Topeka. They came and did the Nutcracker, and then we also have the Wichita Children's Theater coming in the spring. So we're going to have all of the kids first through our pre-K through 6th grade here this spring to see a show from the Wichita Children's Theater. So we try to incorporate the youth as much as we can.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
sure. Absolutely. That's a fantastic idea. I love that. As go through there. Let's have a little fun for just a second. So you have a music background, you have a theater background. If you could bring one theatrical production or musical production into your facility, the Brown Grand, who would you bring, or what would you bring?
Oh my goodness. I mean, sky the limit really right now, because it's hot, is Hamilton. I would love to bring a Hamilton here to the Brown Grand. I think it would just be phenomenal to have something that new, something that energetic. I personally haven't seen it. I've heard the music and I've seen clips of it, but I would love to see it. And so,
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, Dead or Alive musical act, who would you like to bring into the Brown Grand?
Oh man, Frank Sinatra.
Ooh, wow.
There's a lot of impersonators out there who do a Frank Sinatra, and they're excellent. But I think to have Frank Sinatra here, because the Brown Grand is a really, really intimate space. It's not huge. It's not teeny tiny, but it's like a really intimate theater setting. We can only hold 650 people.
Yeah.
So to have somebody that incredible to be in this kind of an intimate setting, I think would be.
No, that's awesome. That's tremendous. That's tremendous. Very good. Well, thank you for joining me today. I won't take any more of your time, but just wanted to see how things are going there in Kansas, and sounds like they're in good hands. So thank you very much, Melissa. I appreciate it, and we'll be in touch soon.